Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business Live. Looking forward to talking to Oscar Beijbom. Oscar, it's great to connect with you. You're the co-founder of Nyckel, lightning fast API for machine learning. I love talking about, learning. I love talking about everything that you're doing. And you're basically building AI into product without hiring machine learning team and without costly infrastructure. And so I think all of this is fascinating, and it seems to be moving at the speed of light. Can you talk a little bit about, and I really appreciate you being on the show. This show, I'm a business coach and I work with solopreneurs to Fortune companies, everything in between. I work with successful people who are stuck. I get them unstuck. I love talking to guests who can get the Think community unstuck. And so, let's talk about not only how it's happening today, but what it looks like 3 years from now, right? Because it seems to be, years ago, this is probably 20 years ago now. I remember reading a book by Seth Godin, and it was called Permission Marketing. And he talked about basically in a gist of a way, the Amazons of the world that will say, hey, if you read this book, all these other people read this book, you may like this too. It was so forward thinking at the time. Today, it seems kind of obvious, but talk about how, AI is just accelerating so many things.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you.
I mean, I think Nyckel started exactly because a friend of mine is, general software developer. He runs a couple of sites, on the side. And he just wanted some simple machine learning in the site. He heard about all these advances. He saw the field progressing. And then he sat down, okay, cool. I just need some simple filtering of comments on my site. And he started looking into, the latest state of the art deep learning. And he was like, oh my God, this is so complicated. There's so many steps I have to do before I can actually integrate this into my product. So he came talk to me. Of course, my career, most recently, I did AI for self-driving cars. So I'm very much in tune with sort of how you do this. And he said, why is it so complicated? Why can't we just make a simple API that let me just provide examples of what I want, example inputs and outputs, right? This is my data. This is what I think is a bad comment or a good comment and so on. And then I just immediately want an endpoint I can call to basically make predictions on new comments in his case.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Let's try and build that. So that's sort of the ultimate goal of our product is there's a lot of players in the machine learning field. Like the field is progressing very quickly in the sense of like new research is coming out, the actual technology is getting better. There's also a lot of players that go into vertical, like try to find verticals that they provide AI solutions for. We don't do that. We want to say if you're a developer, you know how to write code, but you don't know how to do machine learning. That's what Nyckel is for.
But let's talk. I'm sorry, but I just want to pause you for 1 second because you talk a lot about so much new research coming, so much, and I hear this a lot from people in your space that there's so much new research coming. It's almost like what's the shelf life of what is and what can be before it gets reinvented, right? So the new research, you spend time today doing something. When is it being, when is, by the time you're done, is something else already there to be reinvented? So how do you keep up?
I think it's very hard for practitioners. Like if you're not a researcher, it's very hard to keep up. So, and that's why we think the API that we provide is the right abstraction, because we don't even tell you what model we use behind the scenes. And in fact, as new research comes out, we add them to our Nyckel sort of set of things that we try on your data. So we take the responsibility for that for you. We say we're going to do all that, stay on top of the literature, implement all the latest methods. You just focus on your data, your problem, and we take care of the other stuff.
Right.
So that's a little bit different because most of our competitors, you have to pick the model family, you have to pick the parameters, you have to be a little bit more in the weeds of things. And our hypothesis is that a lot of people don't want that. They just want something that works.
Yeah. And so when it comes to you kind of, helping them stay in front of it where they can do their business and you can kind of, you're doing the research to basically help them. Right.
Yeah.
And so But where let's just kind of back up a little bit more. Where do they need to be thinking today to know, hey, I need your product for, these reasons, and also so I can kind of, focus on what I need to do, and you can help me grow. What do they need to be thinking today, your client, to know that they need your services?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I have to say, I'm a little bit, I don't think people should, to me, it's a little bit the wrong question. Like, instead of asking, like, in what way do I need, AI, right, today to improve our product? I think they should just think about what more conventional business wisdom, right? What problems do their customers have today?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can I improve their lives? And if machine learning is one of the ways they think they can improve their lives, then I think they should try something like Nyckel, because even if they end up in the longer term building their own machine learning team, building their own infrastructure, it's so easy to get started with a sort of a run a baseline on Nyckel, or like go from 0 to 1, and then they can always build their own thing if they want later.
Yeah.
So the kinds of problems that machine learning do well on is obviously images, where it's very, very hard to make sense of images without machine learning. Using conventional programming, you basically need machine learning, whether it's classifying the whole image or finding things in the image, for example, detecting logos or something like that.
Yeah.
Or the other one is freeform text, when it's like comments, emails. We have people using it for like recipes and so on, where it's just unstructured and you can't really write a conventional, regular expression,
Right.
or using some sort of blacklist or something to
Yeah.
make sense of it. So those are the two main things.
Yeah, no, I love that, and you're giving insight into what people are, how people should be thinking and paying attention to, kind of the pain that they have in their business, and how your business can kind of help them grow. I love it. Let's talk about fundamentally just kind of AI for a minute. For somebody who's listening to this, give kind of the kindergarten definition of AI.
Right. I mean, it's a very fuzzy term, and it's a term that is mostly used in media rather than among professionals. But I think it's best exemplified by the Turing test. Are you familiar with that, John? Or you think your readers are, or listeners?
Yeah, describe it.
So the Turing test is defined by Alan Turing, and he said, one way to test if a computer has achieved intelligence, artificial intelligence, is if you have a room or a chat room where you don't know, you're chatting with someone and you don't know if it's a human or a machine. And basically, once the machine is able to like trick you into believing that you're talking to a human, then it's past the Turing test. Then it is an artificial intelligence. That's one way to sort of measure if you have achieved artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's kind of how I think of AI. So it doesn't really speak about like how it's implemented. It could be a rule-based system. It could be using machine learning. Machine learning is more. It's a field of research. It's using statistical methods to learn from data.
Yeah.
So you can implement AI using machine learning. You can also implement AI using other ways. Potentially.
Awesome. Yeah. Quick speed round for you. Ready, Oscar?
Sure.
A book that's had the biggest impact on you.
I really like the beginning of Infinity.
Nice. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received.
Yeah, it's a little cheesy, but something my dad said once. When you start a new job or you start a career and so on, gives you a really mundane, boring task. Like they give you a broom, you just show them that you can sweep that room really well.
Yeah.
And don't drop the ball, and then maybe next time they give you something more interesting to do.
It's good advice. So simple, it's complicated. That's good advice. Yeah. Always bring your best self. Tell everybody, Oscar, who Nyckel's ideal clients are and how they can connect with you.
The ideal clients are basically CTOs of say 1 to 20 person companies, where they are in the code. They understand how they can integrate this stuff and how they can mix and match the various machine learning APIs that we provide into making their product better.
It's great. And how can they connect with you?
Nyckel.com. There is sign up forms and ways to reach out.
Okay, good. Think community. You know, a lot of companies are paying attention to AI. Some are, some aren't. Always good to get in front of AI and understand how it can help grow your business. You know, like Oscar was talking about, and I think one thing that, you know, there's a lot of things you said to get people unstuck, but one thing in particular is there's that resonated with me is there's always new research coming out every day, and staying ahead of real time and in front of things can be really important. So make sure you're surrounding yourself not only with people, but the right products and services that can help you accelerate your business so you can do what you do and they can do what they do best to really help accelerate, which is what Nyckel can help companies do. So I appreciate you taking time to be on the show. Think community, thank you. Oscar, any last thoughts?
No,
Okay.
nothing for me. Thank you for having me.
All right, good. Thanks for being on the show. I appreciate
Yep.
it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.